Hello, and thanks for joining me on this episode of Simply Saturday, where I get to show you a card that is fast and easy to make. My name is Julie, and this is Stamp with Julie Baum. For today's card, I am going to stretch you a teeny bit. This is not quite as fast of a card, but it is still easy. So stick with me, watch the steps, and I think you're going to be really excited. I am showing you some products that coordinate. The stamp set is called Hooray for Surprises. There are coordinating dies that go with this stamp set. And the reason it's called Hooray for Surprises is it's created in such a way that you're going to actually be able to peel off a layer or a part of the card to reveal a message or some images underneath. So I've never seen anything like this before, and this is super exciting, and I want to be able to show you how to use this because I want you to not be intimidated by it. It's really easy to overlook it in the catalog. Let me show you again. It's really easy to overlook all that is here because you don't really understand what all of this can do. So the card that I'm going to teach you right now in today's tutorial is this one. So we are going to keep it quite simple. I want to show you what this is going to look like. Now, I'm not going to peel this one off because this card is already created and ready to send, but I do have an extra element, this piece that's already been made, and let me show you what happens when this gets pulled off. So the die cut here leaves a perforated area. So even though this is attached right now, when you gently begin to peel this off, the perforations let go and this piece pops off to reveal your little message below. Super, super cute and fun. That is just way different than many of the things that we do with our stamping products. So this is the card. It's ready for the recipient to be able to pull and open the top of that card just like you saw me do. Here's another one that I made the other day. This time the heart is just a decoration, but this one pulls open here like a zipper, and there is a message underneath that space stamped as well. And then I've decorated the inside of the card on this one too. All right, and then here is another version made with those same products. This time a birthday card, and this part is going to lift up to reveal an extra message underneath that area. And then this one has been completed on the inside as well. So let's get started so I can show you so that you're not afraid of this. It is not hard to do. You just kind of have to focus and take each step at a time. So the first thing that I'm going to do is start with my card base, which is a piece of Highland Heather, and it measures 7.5 inches by 3 3/4. I'm double checking as I'm saying that. 7.5 by 3 3/4. And then we're going to score and fold it in the middle. At 3 3/4. So I'm just going to use the scoring blade in my trimmer here. 3 3/4 and score that. All right, so there's my card base. The next thing that is also super fast and easy is to attach a piece of designer series paper. This is from Perennial Lavender, and I've cut this piece. I wanted this piece really large, almost the same size as the card base itself. So this piece is 3 5/8 by 3 5/8. All right, so we're going to attach that to the front. I would also normally grab a white piece and cut it 3 5/8 by 3 5/8 for the inside. You saw on my completed card, there was a white panel on the inside. Okay, but I'm not going to take the time to put that white panel on while we're filming for today. All right, so let me get this piece in place. So it covers a lot of that Highland Heather, but just leaving a little peak of color around the edges. Okay, the next thing that I do is take a piece of cardstock. So in this instance, I'm using Gorgeous Grape this time. And I cut this piece out with the largest square from Stylish Shapes. So you're going to take your scrap of colored cardstock, put on the largest square die, run this through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and then you end up with this square. Now the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to take this special die that comes in the set of dies, and you're going to center it on that square, and then you're going to run this back through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Now, could you do the 2 steps at once? You probably could. I would just make sure that I used a little bit of Post-it tape to hold the square down so it didn't wiggle. All right, but I caution against using any kind of tape to hold this down, because the chances are when you peel it off, you might accidentally pop your little image out of the perforations. So either cut the square first all by itself, then center this and run it through. After you've run it through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, you're just going to lift the die off, and that piece stays in place with the perforations, okay? Or you could try to do both of those steps at once if you wanted to try to save one step. All right, so let's set this aside for just a moment. I'll show you what I did next. I took that same die and I cut out just a white piece. This could be any piece. I'm using this as a template, so this could be any color, just scrap, whatever. So I cut out a square from that. I also ran it through with this die, and then for the purpose of my template, I popped the insides out, all right? So now I have a template that is going to be really helpful when I need to stamp what is going to be behind this heart. All right, it's going to be a guide, and it helps make it so easy. So let's do that part next. All right, this piece is my white piece of cardstock that is going to be glued and be behind this. This is going to have the special message on it. All right, the special message is going to be stamped right here. But in order to know where to stamp that so that it's nice and centered inside my heart, this is the reason for the template, all right? So this piece is a hair smaller than this square. This square, once you cut it out with your die, ends up measuring 2 3/4 inches by 2 3/4 inches. So this is a 2 3/4 inch square also, but trimmed down by just a hair, like about a 1/16 of an inch. All right, so I'm gonna take this piece. This piece, like I said, is going to get stamped, and then it's going to get glued onto here, because that white piece is what's going to hold the hidden message. Okay, so let's stamp that hidden message. So we're going to pick up our little guide. I'm going to flip it over so I can just see what I'm doing. I want to center this important white piece behind my plain old everyday guide and just kind of make sure it's even all the way around, and then flip it over. At this point, I can stamp my message knowing where that heart is and exactly how it's going to show up once that gets peeled apart. All right, so I'm going to stamp my little message here in Pretty Peacock, stamping it right down through my guide in the center of the heart, like so. All right, super helpful, super easy. Okay, this I'm just going to store with that stamp set because I can reuse this die over and over again. And this piece is now going to get attached to this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be very careful to not put any glue on this part, because that's the part that needs to peel off. So we're just going to put our glue around the heart. And then also out to the edges, keeping in mind that this white square is a hair smaller than this. So I'm going to go not quite out to the very edges of my purple, but pretty close to that edge. All right, like so. Now I can just turn this over because again, we need that message to be peeking through that heart once they peel it off. So I'm going to lay this down on here and I can be confident that those words, "You're the best," are going to be lined up just perfectly inside that heart because of the way we used the guide. And there you have it. All right, so this piece is now going to go on to the front of the card like so. I do want to decorate a little something for here. So I took this stamp and a piece of white cardstock, and I used Starry Sky and stamped the heart. And then there is a plain heart die. Okay, this was the other heart die with the little tab on it. There's a plain heart die, so I just cut that out. And it is going to get glued onto the front of this heart. Okay, now in this set, there are a couple of little instructional stamps. One says pull, one says open here, and well, the other one says for you. So that one's not really instructional. All right. So what I learned when I did this card is after gluing this heart on here, there's not a lot of space to grab from this pull tab. There's enough, but what there isn't a lot of space is enough room to stamp the word pull on there. It wouldn't quite fit. Now, let me show you this one again. Because the area here is not hampered by any other images, I was able to stamp the word pull right there. So it's very clear that the recipient is going to grab right there and pull. But on here, it's a little bit more difficult and it's going to be almost impossible to stamp the word pull here. So we're just going to take a scrap and stamp pull on the scrap. I think I can do better. The L's didn't look so good. There we go. Then I'm going to take my scissors and trim it out really, really close to the word. Okay, really close to those letters at the top and at the bottom, because this is, I want this to be tiny, tiny but functional. All right, then I'm going to cut on the side with the letter P, leaving a little bit of space, like so. And then I'm going to attempt to make a tiny little banner end on this side. So I'm going to cut that down. And then I'm going to snip. You've seen me do this many times. Snip in the middle, then go from the corner to the snip. And then I'm just going to flip this over and go from the corner to the slit. And then I have my little banner. Okay, now I'm going to put a tiny little dab of glue. You could also use a glue dot on this, on the side with, wow, that came out way more than I wanted. On the side with the letter P, I'm going to get rid of some of this glue because it's frankly too much. I don't want it to ooze out. Okay, there we go. And then watch, I'm going to carefully, because I don't want to pop this up, but I just want to lift this little tab right there, and I'm going to tuck this under and glue it in place. All right, so that resolves the problem of not being able to stamp the little instruction to pull on that little pop-out part. And so now it's going to be clear that you just grab this whole thing right here and pull. All right, all we need to do is attach this to our card. This magical little message holder, super fun. And I'm just going to stick this on the front of my card. A very simple design indeed, but with a really fun interactive element to it. Like so. And again, let me bring in that other one. This one's a slightly different, a little different paper, and I used fresh freesia on this one. And this one has the inside complete, a piece of white cardstock, some little stamped flowers, and this one is ready to pull, as is this one. Now, you could also add some embellishments to this or whatever, but we're keeping it as simple as possible for today. And I am so happy that you stayed with it in order to see how to use this very unique interactive set of products. Let me bring those other cards back in so that you can take one more peek at them. There is this birthday card that I made, and it's done in a bookbinding style with a message inside and some designer series paper. And of course, the recipient is going to get to pull that and reveal the message underneath here. And there was this one with the second way to do a hidden message behind the zipper. This one shows you the circle that you can peel open. This one that we did in our card today shows you the heart. And then this one shows you the long kind of a zipper shape. And there you have it. Thank you so much for watching the card tutorial today. I hope that you just loved it, and I hope that you will be willing to give Hooray for Surprises a try. I think it will make for a fun card for you to send to friends and family. Thank you for watching, and as always, I'm going to put some information below this video to help you out. Click on the description box below the video. It will open up with lots of information, links, and a current host code. Thanks so much for being here today, and until next time, happy stamping.